Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of ISKCON, Chapter 9, Text 13. Mahatma nastu mang partha Daiving prakritim ashritaha Bhajantyananya manaso Gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Purport. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And how is this affected? That is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul, Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna, because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma, or great soul, develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. They are not attracted to other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord, in Krishna consciousness. In the previous verses, Lord Krishna has described the Duratmas, bad people. Atma means person. So every Atma, living being, part and parcel of Krishna. So by nature, every living being is pure devotee of Krishna. But those who choose not to be Mahatmas, they're called Duratmas. And Krishna has expressed his dissatisfaction with them. Krishna is not pleased when a living being who is supposed to be his servant goes away from that concept and acts differently. But here Krishna is giving the comparison that there are Duratmas. There are those who, especially Krishna said that those who think that my body is material, Krishna is especially displeased with them. He specifically mentioned this. Avajananti mang mudha manushing tanamashritam haram bhavamajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Those who give this idea that Krishna is not even spiritual, Krishna is a product of the material energy, Krishna is not supreme, Krishna is especially not at all happy with them. And he says, Mogha sha mogha karamano mogha gana vichetasaha rakshasim asarim chaiva prakritim mohining shritaha. That such people, they are always defeated. Everything they do doesn't work. Everything is baffled. Everything is destroyed. So Krishna is especially displeased with those who deny his personality, those who deny his supremacy. But he is very pleased with the devotees, and he calls them Mahatmas. Actually, this word Mahat, this name It's you'll find in Vishnu Sahasranam, one of the names of Lord Vishnu is Mahatma. Just like Paramatma, Supreme Atma, Supreme Living Being. So great Atma, better than others. Krishna is better than others, therefore he's called Mahatma, great soul. But Krishna puts in the same category as himself those who surrender to him, those who come under the protection of the divine nature. Krishna accepts as good as himself. Dikha kale bhakta kare atashamapan, she kale Krishna tare kare atasham. Lord Chaitanya told this to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was lamenting, thinking that I'm very low born, I'm from a bad background, I was always serving meat eaters, and I'm not at all fit to serve Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that once a devotee surrenders himself to Krishna and takes initiation, then Krishna accepts him as good as himself. And even Krishna accepts a devotee as better than himself. Now the Damodar month means the whole month we are remembering how Krishna is tied up by Mother Yashoda, which we're singing this song every night, that it's simply amazing. This Kunti Devi also expressed her amazement that how is it that Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so many millions of books and verses have been written by great realized devotees about his glories, how he is inconceivable in all ways. He's so great we can't even begin to accommodate his greatness in our tiny brains. He's so great. He's so different to us. This Madhvacharya stressed this philosophy. Two-ness. We are not the same as God. This oneness idea is most rejectable. Now how can we think we are the same as God or as good as God? He is so much greater than us in all respects. But he agrees to allow his devotees to be on the same level as him or even greater than him. Now how can he be tied up? It's a ridiculous proposition. It's not logical. People say we don't believe in God. It's not logical. Well, it's true. It's not logical. It's not logical that how God, who is the controller of everything, will be tied up by some woman in a village. You see, if you go in the villages here, you'll find so many women, and you see even now cowherd boys, they have the ropes for tying up the cows when they milk them, and flutes still you'll find in the villages. Why Krishna has a flute? All cowherd boys have flutes for calling the cows, and Krishna also calls the gopis. He's a special boy. So you see, you're in the villages and you see ordinary. Now you'll see on Govardhan Parikrama and so many village people coming, and they're very simple people. They're nice people. It's very simple people. But you see a village woman, you won't think how they can tie up God. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, Mother Yashoda is not any village woman. She's Mother Yashoda. She's the eternal mother of Krishna. But from external appearances, she appears to be a ordinary village woman. Just like when Krishna was present, in the eyes of those who are not his devotees, he appeared to be an ordinary person. Ordinary means maybe a great person. Of course, Shishupal, he just saw, who is this? Just some cowherd boy, and now he jumped himself up to be some prince, and who does he think he is anyway? But even there were so many kings, they accepted, yes, he's a very powerful person, but they couldn't understand he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the same way, his great devotees, they may not be understood. What is their position? They may appear like ordinary people. So Mother Yashoda is tying up Krishna, and so that doesn't make any sense. Logically. If we're going to say logic, of course, how can you even begin to apply logic, which is a product of the mind, that logic is based upon our experience. Just like I was reading Hridayananda Maharaj gave the example that if you have an apple tree outside your window, and from time to time you hear tung, tung, and every time you hear that sound, you look out and another apple has fallen on the ground. It's the sound of the apple falling on the ground. So you pick up all the apples, and then you go inside, and again you hear tung, then you think it's the same sound as when all the other apples fell, and I already picked up all the apples, so you logically conclude another apple has fallen, and you look outside and yes, an apple has fallen. Of course, it's not proof, it could have been something else. Someone might have thrown a football, or it could be something else, but logically you conclude that probably another apple has fallen. So logic, that is not sufficient to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and especially what is His nature. Logically we can conclude that there must be some supreme controller, power, force, designer behind this universe. That there are different theories which atheists and theists, they argue, or is the existence of God a fact? There's this designer theory, as the philosophers, they like to classify everything. So Prabhupada used to speak this designer theory, that if even to create a little watch requires so much design, then what to speak of the whole universe? There must be some intelligent and capable person behind it. I've often given the example of it, because I'm always using this in class, that even this could not come into being by chance. If we say that this came into, if you waited, you left the whole universe to evolve for millions of years, and then this came into being by chance. They say that, well, if you left everything long enough, surely all this, as we see it, could come into being by chance. But if I tell you that, where did this come from? Where did you buy it? It just appeared in my garden by chance. It just happened. You know? I was just watching one day, and all of a sudden, the earth just formulated itself into this. And would anyone believe it? And I could say, well, it could happen. I mean, in millions of years, you didn't expect it to happen, but in millions of years, maybe one time in the universe it could happen that all of a sudden the mud just formed itself together. But no, you know. See, even to design this, even to make this, you have to get iron ore out of the mine, which requires a whole whole operation. Then you have to extract the iron ore, you have to mix it with carbon in a particular mixture, a particular percentage, so that it forms steel. And you have to roll it out, and you see, just this lid, I know I chose this because sometimes they're too loose and sometimes they're too tight. But this is just nice, so that it fits on. It's not too loose and it's not too tight, just exactly correct. So how could you say that this is not made by some intelligence? It's not made by chance. This is so simple. We think of this as a very simple thing. But actually, how much intelligence and endeavor went into this, starting with finding the iron mine, finding where it is, and then working out how to extract it, and then actually going and forming a company and designing machines just to extract the iron ores. As you could you could have a whole shelf in a library about that. Then and then the whole business, is it profitable to extract it or not? So many considerations, and the research that went into making the steel and building the factory and then marketing it, and how much should you charge for it, how much profit, wholesale, retail. So much went into this, and we just pick it up like this and drink the water. And this is so simple, and even one cell in our body is millions of times more complex than that. And all the cells in our body, they're all interacting with each other to make this body function. And then all the different living beings within the universe are all functioning within nature. And they say it all comes into being by chance. So a Mahatma, he doesn't say that. It's not even logic. It's not even logic to accept there's God. It's just absolute insanity not to accept that there is God. I have one book, it's called Cosmos Bios Theos. So it was compiled a few years ago. In America, it was some different top scientists, more than half were Nobel laureates, and the rest were the heads of research institutes of big companies. So they were all asked questions like, do you believe in God? What is the relationship between religion and science? So one of these scientists, he said, considering the complexity within the universe and the impossibility of it arising by chance, anyone who does not believe in God is possessed of the highest degree of idiocy. In other words, it's not a matter of logic. It's just madness not to accept that there is control, motivation, there is some purpose behind the universe. Just like a machine, if someone makes a machine, it requires so much research to make a machine. So you make a machine, there's some function, just like you see now so many video cameras. There's so many machines. You see there's some machine for making your glasses so it's just exactly the right power, and the spectacles themselves could be considered some kind of apparatus, some machine. So there are so many machines being invented. You'll find in the newspapers they have the science section. What is the new machine? Latest machine I saw that going off on a bit of a tangent, but a wonderful breakthrough in science. They made some new machine that when they drill a hole in the road, because there's so many pipes underneath, there's water pipe, fresh water, tap water pipe, sewage water pipe, electric pipe, telephone pipe, gas pipe, metro, subway, train pipe. So, and they're not sure, because their underground maps aren't under, and they're always drilling the road. They've always got to be drilling the road. So they made some new machine to find out that before you drill, you can find out what exactly is there. So when you drill, you don't knock out all the electricity. So it was considered a great breakthrough in science. That is exactly what the Bhagavatam says. That they're simply creating problems, and then they so-called solve the problem. The great advancement in science. They made the problem in the first place, and now we solve the problem, and they consider themselves so advanced. So many machines are there. Now imagine if you make a machine, and it's got all kinds of spokes and spindles, and dials and graphs and buttons and lights flashing, and of course it has to make some noise because all machines do that, some nasty noise. So then you enter it as in the science fair. So someone comes and looks and says, "Wow, what a wonderful machine! Looks really complex. What is it? It doesn't do anything. It's just a machine. That's all." But why would you go to so much endeavor to make a machine and it just doesn't do anything? So in the same way, how can they say that the whole universe, it's a whole mechanism, and there's no purpose behind it? Asatyam apratishtamte jagadahur anishvara. They say that there's no purpose in the universe, therefore there's no controller. It's just all by chance. You see, they think they're making a very modern, advanced theory. But Krishna, he's saying the same thing, that these demons, even 5,000 years ago, and even before that, there was the Nirishva Sankhya, the so-called scientific philosophy of that day, that there is no God, everything is simply chance interaction of atoms. You see, even Vedic philosophers, they also have, there's not a new idea. So Krishna is pointing them out, that these people are demons. They say, there is no God in control, there's no absolute truth, everything is going on simply by chance. Aparaspara sambhutam, there's no, aparaspara means there's no mutual interaction, it's just all going on by chance. Exactly what the demons of the modern age say. Everything has come into being by chance. Aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama haitukam. And therefore what's the actual underlying principle of everything? Lusty desires. There's no God in control, there's no higher principle, so everything comes down to sex lust. This is the demoniac conclusion. So the Mahatmas, they are not rascals. This Krishna is giving the definition, that there are so many different demoniac ideas, and Krishna hasn't listed them all, but the main ideas which come again and again in human society. It's not that, just like they say, Shankaracharya, he started the Advaita. He didn't start it. It's going on eternally. But he just gave some impetus to it. That's always there. Throughout history, there are always people who deny the personality of Godhead. Because we're in the material world, and the material world is a big stage for avoiding Krishna, for avoiding surrendering to Krishna. And even as Prabhupada notes in the purport in the previous verse that we read last night, he shows that such people who are avoiding me, they are all rascals. But he congratulates that those who are not deluded. Those who are not deluded in this way, they are great souls. Krishna recognizes. Those who are devotees, they come under the protection of the divine nature. That divine nature, Krishna is always ready to extend the protection of the divine nature. That is what the scientists, with all their machines and looking out through telescopes and looking at the macrocosm through their telescopes and looking at the microcosm with their microscopes, but they can never see Krishna. They can never recognize the divine energy by any material means. That requires divine inspiration to understand and accept that beyond this material energy there is the divine energy. So that as long as we are materially contaminated, we can't see that. It's for the materialistic person, he can't see. It seems to him the most to the atheist, to the committed, confirmed, dedicated, as Prabhupada said, staunch demon, to the staunch atheists, they can't even begin to perceive the divine nature. They have a materialistic concept of life in which everything, as far as they can see, that everything is simply existing. They have a fixed mindset that everything is simply existing, and it makes complete. Even the most nonsensical ideas, the asatyare satya karimani, that which is untrue, they take to be true. Just like this Darwin's theory. It's the most nonsensical idea. And actually many times when we discuss it in lectures, even among karmis, they just start laughing when you start telling them. Just like I was in Russia. Now you know in Russia they have their father's name, their surname is their father's name. It would be something like Sergei Ivanovich. It means Sergei, the son of Ivan. So I was saying that according to Charles Darwin, all the Russians, if you go back far enough, you'll have Ivan Ivanovich and Sergei Sergeyevich, and eventually you'll come to Ivan Monkeevich. Eventually you'll find your father is a monkey. Does it make any sense? Of course not. It's a nonsensical idea that some monkeys were running around and all of a sudden a human baby popped out, or half human, and then he clubbed all the others to death or something like that, and then he evolved a little more and became Charles Darwin. But to them it seems to be very sensible. It seems to make sense that everything just happened by chance. There was the whole universe was just bubbling. Of course, Prabhupada, he always asks the right questions. Well, even if you say everything evolved from chemicals, well, where did the chemicals come from? And why? For what purpose? All right, okay, you say everything evolved. But how did those chemicals, how did those pre-evolutionary conditions come about in the first place? By chance? Is that also by chance? What for and why? So the devotees, those who have less contaminated intelligence, those whose intelligence is not confused by atheistic views, moghasha, mogha karmanam, mogha, those who are, this Prabhupada translates, that those who are bewildered by atheistic views, all their hopes are baffled, their knowledge is baffled, they seem to be very intelligent, they award each other PhDs, that yes, you are very intelligent, and actually they may be very intelligent, but their intelligence, it all works in the wrong way. So it appears that they are very intelligently explaining, but the conclusion is nonsense. Just like I remember at school that our mathematics teacher, he showed us some big equation on the blackboard. So we thought this first x squared plus y squared divided by ab cubed, and big long thing on this side and big long thing on the other side of the equal sign. So is this correct? And he looked at both sides. Yeah, both sides balanced. This is correct. So he squared everything up on both sides. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. And so he did a few things, and then he cancelled everything out and came to the conclusion 1 equals 2. And we went through it several times, and everything he did seemed to make sense. The conclusion is 1 equals 2. Then he showed that within one bracket on one side, everything, if you work out everything in the bracket, comes to 0. So when you multiply the bracket by everything else, you're multiplying by 0. So everything becomes 0, and that's where the discrepancy comes. So it looks good, but it's nonsense. So this is materialistic. Materialistic knowledge means it may look very good, but if it doesn't accept that beyond parastasmat bhavanyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha, that there is divine principle, there is a higher guiding principle, that everything is not simply happening by chance, then it is bewildered, simply bewildered. So devotees, they are those who accept that the beginning of devotional life is to accept that there is a divine power, achintya shakti. The beginning of accepting the existence of God is to accept His inconceivable potency. Even if someone says, I believe in God, but they don't accept His inconceivable potency, then he's not actually believing in God. They say, well, I believe in God, but I don't believe He can do that. Just like the story of the Brahmana who, Narad Muni, he was going to Vaikuntha. So when am I going back to God? The question, tell me what he was doing. Narad said, he was putting an elephant through the eye of the needle. I don't believe. I believe in God, but I don't believe He can put an elephant through the eye of the needle. That means you don't believe in God, because God can do whatever He likes. That is the very... If God is limited to the laws that we perceive, then He's not God. The very meaning of God is that He's beyond the law. Even if there are laws of material nature, He doesn't have to follow them. He's controlling them. He can do what He likes. That is His own prerogative. The meaning of God is that He is unlimited in all respects. Just like I was saying that someone asked Prabhupada, it's supposed to be a trick question. Could Krishna conceive of something that He Himself couldn't do? I said yes, and then He will do it, because He is God. You can't catch Him. You can't catch His pure devotee either. So pure devotional service begins with accepting, or the acceptance of God begins with acceptance of His inconceivable potency. If we think that God is just someone like us, a little bit better than us, then that is not theism. That is another kind of materialism. So Krishna is here stressing on the Mahatmas. They're under the shelter of the divine energy. They're in this world, but they're not of this world. Devotees, they're living in this world, but their whole concept and way of thinking is completely different from that of the materialists. That's why the materialists cannot understand the devotees. Vaishnavera kriya mudra bigeho na bujay. Those who are not devotees, they can't understand. They think there must be some material motive behind the activities of the devotees. They must be doing all this for some hidden motive. They can't understand. Why would people give up all kinds of sense enjoyment and work hard, and even if they see the devotees are working hard and not getting any pay or not getting any sense enjoyment, they think that they must be deluded by someone else who's making them work hard, and some big leader gets all the profit, and some big leader is enjoying, and he brainwashes them to work like this. Because they can't see what is the motive. They can only imagine material motives. So they think that either the devotees, they're secretly taking some intoxication, or they're misguided, and some big leader is enjoying all the money. They can't understand why would people dedicate their lives to God, because they don't believe in God. Or if they so-called believe in God, God is in the church, God is a person you go to pray to, God give me some money, God improve my health. But this whole idea of dedicating your life to Him, they cannot imagine. So a devotee, he's actually in a completely different consciousness to that of the materialist. He's under the Daivi Prakriti, he's under the shelter of the divine energy of Krishna. He sees everything in relationship to Krishna, whereas the materialist sees everything in relationship to his own sense enjoyment. Everything a materialistic person sees, he thinks, how can I exploit it? how can I enjoy it? Or if it's something which he perceives as unfavorable to his sense enjoyment, he thinks how to avoid it or how to overcome it. He sees in terms of friends and enemies that this person can help me in my sense enjoyment, or this person is a threat to my sense enjoyment. Therefore, friends and enemies, just like in Bosnia, for instance. Friends and enemies. This is a Bosnian Serb, this is a Muslim. Friends and enemies. Although both the Serbs and the Croats and the Muslims, they all eat, they all sleep, they all pass stool, and there's not that much difference between them. But they've made friends and enemies. Therefore they're fighting. No reason. But devotees, because they're devotees, they don't see like this. They see all living beings are part and parcel of Krishna. They see everything in relation to Krishna. Everything they see, they think, how can we use this in the service of Krishna? Just like a materialist may see a big house and he thinks, oh, I would like to have this house so I could enjoy it. I would make this room a billiards room, and this room a guest bedroom, and this room I would convert into a table tennis room, and this room a video room. The devotee sees big house. Oh, that would be nice. We should take this house and we could make this room into a guest reception room. This would be the deity room. The devotee has a different vision. Just like Prabhupada, he went all over the world. So many properties he got. Prabhupada, in the earth, even before there was any temple, he was walking down. He said, in future we shall make this a temple. We shall make that a temple. So his whole vision is how to engage everything in the service of Krishna. Different vision altogether. Even I was just reading this interesting thing. Prabhupada was saying that he was saying for a devotee, beautiful woman, very dangerous. But he said, but if you know how to engage, that is also very good. So Prabhupada, vision, even he used to say that they are a secret weapon. You'll send them out to distribute books. No one can refuse them. So everything can be used in Krishna's service. Devotee has a different vision. He doesn't see how I will exploit, but he sees how everything should be used in the service of Krishna. He's under the protection of the divine nature by which his whole way of thinking, divine nature, the diving prakriti, whereas the materialist is called asuri prakriti, demoniac mentality, by which he degrades himself and goes to hell. But a devotee is in divine nature and he develops all divine qualities. This Abhayam Sattva Samshudhiya Jnana Yoga Vyavasti Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Svadhyastapa Arjavam. This Krishna is mentioned in the beginning of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Divine qualities, fearlessness, purification of one's existence. Abhayam Sattva Samshudhiya Jnana Yoga Vyavasti, always situated in transcendental intelligence. Charity, self-control. Krishna lists what are the divine qualities that manifest in a person who puts himself under the divine nature. Puts himself under the divine nature means the devotee is always thinking of how to serve Krishna and please Krishna. Therefore automatically, just like Janananda Prabhu was saying, it's like a materialistic person, there's so much concern. What shall we eat and where shall we go and how we shall enjoy. But a devotee, his attitude is different. Let us honor prasad so that we can keep the body healthy for serving Krishna. So a devotee's whole attitude is different. And Krishna is praising this. Bhajantyananya manaso. The devotee worships me with undeviated mind. Krishna is very pleased with this. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, please?
You said that the Lord is displeased with the demons and pleased with the devotees. Sukadeva Swami asked the question to Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj asked the question to Sukadeva Swami that how is it the Lord is partial to the demigods and he's against the demons. He's supposed to be impartial, he's supposed to be the supreme. So why is he like this? Why should it affect him whether somebody is inimical to him or not?
So what did Shukadeva answer?
I don't know.
No, the Lord is impartial, but that example Prabhupada so many times gave, that just like a father, he's impartial to all his sons. He's ready to, all his sons, they're his sons, therefore he's ready to love them all. But those who are obedient to him, naturally he's inclined, whereas those who are obstinately, stubbornly against, then obviously he's not treated the same way by the father. Although if they rectify their consciousness, then of course the father is ready to accept them. And the father doesn't hate them. He may punish them for their own good. He doesn't hate them, but he's not satisfied with them. Therefore he deals with them in such a way that they may be rectified. There's a very nice verse in this regard that about Krishna being pleased with his devotees. This Krishna told to Uddhav, you'll find in Bhagavatam. I was just thinking this with Uddhav today, that Krishna says, Natata me priyatama atma yonena shankaraha nacha sankarshano na shriya naivatma chayatha bhavan. Krishna says that my dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva, natata me priyatama atma yonena shankaraha, nor Lord Balaram, nor the goddess of fortune, nor even myself are as dear to me as you. So that will be the ambition of the devotee, that we could be as much blessed as Uddhava, and Krishna will say, I love you even more than myself.
Commented on that verse. One of the acharyas he commented. Actually, Krishna wanted to say not Bhava, devotee, but he said Bhava, you. He actually wanted to say devotee.
My devotees, yeah. The acharyas, they know the mind of Krishna, so sometimes they give commentaries which only the acharyas who know the mind of Krishna can say these things. They know the psychology of God. No one else can dare to say such things.
He says this for Arjuna also in the battlefield for Chaitanya during the war.
Anything else? Jai Hare Krishna.